Hey guys, this is my Black Ops 4 State of the Game update as of February the 21st. As you probably know, on Tuesday the 19th we received the biggest patch update for Black Ops 4 since its release, and I really just want to break down what guns, perks, and strategies you should be using to get the best results on a game-to-game basis. Firstly, just a little background on myself because this is my first upload. I've been playing Call of Duty for like the last 10 years. I have a KDR of 1.7 in Black Ops 4 right now, and I consider myself pretty good and knowledgeable of the game. But I feel like our community doesn't have much quality content rolling out anymore, so I thought why not add some to it. And because of YouTube's algorithms, for the few people who actually find this video, I hope you leave with some helpful information. So let's get right into this. First thing I did here is I listed every gun in the game, worst to best, not including the DLC weapons. So RK7, Outlaw, SDM, Combat Knife, Salvo, VKM, Strife, Mozu, ABR, Paladin, Cap 45, Mod 12, Cordite, Koshka, GKS, Swordfish, KN57, Hades, Maddox, MX9, Spitfire, ICR, and now here's your top tier weapons. The Vapr, the Rampart, the Titan, the Saug, the Auger, and I'm so sorry, the SG12 with the strobe light. I'm really not going to get into the SG12 with the strobe light for this video just because everyone knows how overpowered and annoying it is. So let's move on to the actual patch itself and how it has influenced the game. So the Maddox nerf was mostly accuracy based, and the initial recoil pattern, those first 5 shots, were made a lot less predictable and a lot more jumpy. And the Echo Fire mod is still a complete waste of everyone's time. Don't use that. If you're going to keep using the Maddox, don't use the Echo Fire mod. It's not worth it. And the mobility in close quarters combat is a little bit less applicable because of the lower ADS time and the sprint out times that the Maddox got. And also, I think the strafing speed for stock was decreased, so be careful of that. I think a good alternative would just be using stock with Skulker perk. I know that a lot of people do that, myself included, depending on the class. So moving on, we have the Vapr, got the biggest assault rifle buff. The range is so much better on the Vapr. The Vapr is such a good gun right now. The 5-shot kills are so much easier to get, and the recoil pattern is a little bit better, but it's still really annoying in my opinion. I don't like the recoil pattern on the Vapr. That's a little bit more unpredictable than the rest of the guns. So the KN57 right now, it's only good because the Maddox got patched. Before this update, with the Maddox and the Saug and the Spitfire all being really good, this gun was not really good at all. So this is an indirect buff. So the KN is only good right now because other guns are garbage. So basically how I suggest you use the KN is with a suppressor, extended mags, stock up on those perk 3s, those stealthy perks, and just run around the map, try to stay hidden, and use that to your advantage. And it should work out for you. So the Rampart is something that I'm so happy with. Finally, the slow firing, high damage archetype is strong in the current meta. Guns like the VKM, the Auger, the Rampart, and the Titan all got indirectly better because of the nerfs on the Maddox, the Saug, and the Spitfire. Like, the Rampart is so strong right now, it's unbelievable. Using it with high caliber 2 is so great. It's so great. Moving on. So let's not freak out about the Rampart yet. So the SMGs as a whole are losing once again. The current meta is pretty similar to how the game started, with the Vapr, pretty much being the king, the assault rifles being the dominating force in the game, with the exception of the Saug, and maybe the Auger, being a tactical rifle is pretty good. The GKS might see some more playing time in the near future due to the fact that the current meta needs accurate guns. Accuracy is the most important stat in the game right now, but the GKS doesn't have the DPS required to compete with the ARs. Like, it just does not kill fast enough. So, moving on from that, the Spitfire has completely fallen. It has been almost washed from the current meta. There's barely people using it anymore. And if you really need a good close combat weapon, I would really suggest going for the Vapr. With Stock 2 and Rapid Fire, it works pretty well, and it's a good alternative to the Spitfire. And now, I know you might say the Spitfire is still good, but if you're getting into any gunfights out of shotgun range, it's really just a lost cause. So the Vapr, I really suggest, is your best option. The Cordite remains my least favorite gun in the game, with trash DPS, trash stability, and it's only good for that mag size, which is completely irrelevant if you're good and you play smart and use your ammo wisely. So now on to the ARs. The Rampart, which I mentioned before, is currently one of the strongest guns in the game. Regardless if you're using high caliber 2 or not, I personally don't. I just use a simple grip and fast mags, and it's been working great for my Rampart. But the gun is shredding at medium range. Okay, I've also noticed that for some reason the Rampart is absolutely dominant on the map frequency. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that sweet spot of range. But I highly suggest trying it out. And so next up we have the Vapr. Might be the king of the ARs. I said that earlier. It's probably the best gun in the game right now, but it's still a close call. The fire rate is great. I personally don't find a need to use rapid fire on it. Some people go by rapid fire. That's like their life, but if your only focus is to kill people as fast as possible, then there's no reason not to use it. I just don't find it necessary. I'm fine with suppressor and stock 2, that loadout right there. So moving on. Tactical rifles are still a weapon class that most people tend to forget about. The ABR is one of the worst guns in the game right now. It has no desirable features other than when you're playing it in hardcore, but all of the assault rifles do everything the ABR can do, but better. Okay, moving on. So while the Swordfish remains aggressively average, everyone seems to constantly defend the Swordfish, but I don't find it to be effective. And again, most of the ARs can do everything the Swordfish and the ABR do, but a lot better. Okay, the best gun in this class, and possibly the best gun in the entire game right now, is the Auger. The DPS is so insane, you really cannot ignore it. The 2-tap kills, like ding ding dead, is insane. You kill so fast, less than half a second, and it's just so easy to be accurate. It's so easy to connect those 2 shots. The stability is better than every gun in the game. I'm pretty sure that it's more stable than every gun in the game, including the ICR, as the ICR did get that patch way earlier in the year. So that operator mod, double tap operator mod, when you put that on there, it turns it into a sniper. If you have high cal 2 and the double tap operator mod, you touch the trigger once and you're killing anything in almost every range. So real quick, I'm going to talk about the perks that are the most useful. However, I don't think we have any crunch perks in this game, which is great. I'm proud that Treyarch managed to make a balanced perk system. So for perk 1, the only viable perks that consistently help your gameplay is Scavenger and Tactical Mask for obvious reasons. So for perk 2, I honestly don't find any of the second perks necessary, but I don't use perk 2 slots a lot, and they tend to be very situational. Gung Ho, Cold Blooded, and Skulker are very useful, but all very situational. And I suggest using Lightweight if you're playing Ruin to avoid that fall damage from the grappling hook, especially in hardcore. It can get really annoying. So in terms of perk 3, they're all top tier perks. They're not crunch perks, but they're top tier. Dead Silence is the best perk in the game without a doubt. Countering all those tryhards with headsets and the noobs with acoustic sensor is fantastic. Also, Ghost is always a good safety perk, keeping you hidden from those UAVs while moving, and the UAV spam has gotten a lot worse. I don't know why, but it has. There's UAVs all over the place. And anyway, to wrap this up, I'm going to tell you which guns I suggest you use on a game-to-game basis until the next update or until the next meta shifts. So, Rampart with high caliber 2, fast mag, and grip is so good. So you don't have to have all 4 of the attachments, you don't have to have high cal 2, but it's so good right now. You need to try out your Rampart. Everyone put on a Rampart class, put on some Scavenger, go on a nice little kill streak, and you will see how good the Rampart is doing right now. The Auger with high cal 2 that I mentioned earlier, put on a reflex sight on it. If you really need to use the operator mod, go for it. I honestly don't think you need Scavenger for this class, but if you need Scavenger, go for it. Otherwise, stack up on those perk 3s. You don't really need any of the perk 2s for this class, maybe Cold Blooded if you're getting streaked, but you don't really need the perk 2s because you're not going to be moving around a lot. This is more of a campy playstyle with the Auger. You're going to be nailing people from really far away, but definitely try that one out. And I also mentioned the Vapr is dominating close quarters playstyle right now. The Saug is still the best SMG, I know, but the Vapr is really, really good right now, especially if you put on the Skulker perk and just sort of move away, shift around the map with your stock 2. It's great. And I don't know, a lot of people don't have them, but I have a Scuff controller myself, and stock 2 is unbelievably powerful if you have just the movement. It's amazing. And finally, I didn't mention this in my 28 gun list because it's a DLC weapon, but the Daemon, the Demon SMG, however you want to pronounce it, is probably the only viable DLC weapon in the game. And it's the only good burst weapon in the game. But I suggest playing it with a very stealthy, sneaky strat, just like the KN that I mentioned earlier. Just put a suppressor on that, put a scope on that, and you'll be good to go. So that's it for my state of the game update for February. This is my first video. So if you made it all the way to the end, I would love it if you subscribed, and I'll try to get these out maybe once every 2 weeks, seeing how the meta is shift. And I'll see you next time.